welcome to this session. I'll give you guys a little bit of background on myself very shortly. Realistically, today, I want you guys to, while the stuff we talk about may be very general with the industry, it can definitely be made very specific to your business on a whole. So I'll get you guys to do a few exercises today that'll get you thinking about your business. I think if you guys are like me, we're always flat out. We don't get a lot of time to really work on the business. We're always under the pump, just trying to keep our head above water. So use today wisely. I'm definitely excited to work alongside you guys. I get to deliver this presentation and also offer a one-on-one conversation with you guys, which will really be more specific to your circumstances. So a little bit of background, and actually before I do go on to that, a quick disclaimer. Basically, everything we talk about today is general in nature. If you're going to act on anything, give me a call before we do. And that is that. So about me, I'm an accountant / business coach. I've been at Costco for over 12 years now, so it's been some time. I had the business development side of things for the whole Costco group. So we are as far north as Innisfail, right through to Brisbane. In Springwood, we've got an office. So we, Ingham and Townsville in between there, we've got offices and canvass the area, quite consistently. Personally, I'm based in Ingham. I do spend a fair bit of time in Brisbane. And as Hannah mentioned, I am also in the industry you guys are in, as I own Tweak Fitness Ingham and CrossFit Tweak Ingham. So I guess when I get to talk to people like yourself, as an accountant, I've definitely got the skin in the game. I've definitely felt COVID. I've been through what you guys have been through. So that angle there is definitely worth a lot to me. And when I'm talking with people like yourself, I can generally relate to things that you guys have been through. 2019, so I've been on a little bit of a journey in the fitness industry. 2019, I purchased a building in town, which was an old IGA shopping center. I'll show you guys a few photos shortly. Basically, the vision was to make it a hub of allied health services. So what I did was teamed up with a physiotherapist first up. From there, we've got Cafe and a few other organizations in there now working from the same building. I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. But other than that, really, I use my accounting background mixed with the experience now to be able to help people with yourself. I'm not about just doing tax and financial statements. To me, I find that the boring side of accountants. So I'll show you guys some pretty cool stuff that I work with, small businesses in general, but I definitely get a kick out of working with people like yourself in the fitness industry. So a couple photos of what I started with when I bought the building. As you can see, it was an old shopping center. From there, we basically had to gut it and design it from scratch, which was definitely quite a headache. I think I sat in the corner of that building for hours on end thinking, how do we get this into a gym, a physio, and basically, more importantly, not make it feel like people are walking straight into a gym, that you could have professional services there and the public walk through comfortably. Give you a quick snapshot now. That's basically it today. So we've got the main foyer there, which you see on the left inside. We've got the main gym, which and out the back is where the CrossFit happens. And then that down the bottom right, we've got a picture of the whole setup, which is a little bit different to what we started with. So I've been very fortunate that things lined up as best they could throughout that process. And once again, I've taken people through the same process. So once again, just trying to use the experience and learnings, and can definitely tell people what not to do, because there was, without a doubt, plenty of hiccups along the way. But yeah, that just gives you a bit of a background of where the last few years have been for me inside the fitness industry as such. Today, I want to take you guys through, I guess, first thing being why businesses in our industry fail. Most likely, there'll be things that do scare you on a day-to-day basis. we'll talk about a few statistics around that and what I sort of see on a day-to-day level, working with people. I'm then going to talk about some of the data and insights that we can do. So data is absolutely everywhere. It's choosing the right data to use in a timely fashion. And then what type of insights we can provide to people like yourself to make the right decisions within the business. So I'll talk you through that. From there, we can use those insights to start to develop some KPIs. So basically set some goals, set some things that really matter within your business, and then be able to track them. Okay, so if we're tracking them, evaluating them, we can move on the run. How many of us get the financial statements at the end of the year? It could be, 6 to 12 months after the fact. And if something wrong in the business is happening at a particular point in time, it's generally 6 to 12 months before we actually know about it from a financial perspective. So I'll talk a little bit about that. A little bit of an exercise where we'll get you thinking about where you currently are with your business and where you actually want that business to go. I'll touch on some drivers and restrainers and how we can sort of help you along that journey. And then, right at the end, how do we make this project make a change for us, get us to where we want to be, or at least start the process? It's a great opportunity. So why not use it? So I'll take you through that, and we will go from there. So I'm just going to ask some questions. First of all, why do businesses fail in our industry? So anyone want to tell me what they think? Now, there's no obviously right or wrong answer. There's plenty of reasons why people do fail in the industry, but certain things that may scare you. Is it cash flow? Is it, competition setting up next door? Anyone got any suggestions on why they believe, the bulk of businesses fail in our industry?
Yeah, well, probably the main, just one for me is not enough insight, like to, working backwards from, what would you like to achieve or be, or what size would you like the business to be in X amount of time? I think a lot of people open their doors, think running a gym or a CrossFit box is easy, but it's bloody hard. I think probably people don't understand, where the vision they need to have to make it happen, I suppose, and make it work.
Definitely agree with that, Scott. It's like a lot of people step into the industry because they have a passion for health and fitness, but maybe not the knowledge to run a business, I guess. And it definitely is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, nice. It's you guys are dead set on the money, and a lot of people make decisions, I guess, on emotion. So they'll run into a setup because they like health and fitness and so forth. But at the end of the day, it is a business, and we need to treat it like that. And that's where people can definitely miss the mark. I see it. Yeah, I see it all the time. So
when CrossFit is so community driven, it's hard.
Yeah, that's right. And you don't want to let your members down. Am I right in saying that? So sometimes there's a gap between financially what's right and what the members want to see.
Absolutely.
100%.
Nice.
You're always going to have those people that you need to do a little bit more for, and because it's so community driven, you do it, you give your time, and then when you got to treat it like a business, time is money at the end of the day, and we're always forgoing that to help somebody because that's the essence of what we do, and that's our passion.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Exactly. I'd also like to jump in and say that's definitely not a problem unique to CrossFit. I think a lot of fitness-based businesses, whether they be affiliates or not, experience that same level of community, and that's the thing we love about the industry, right? But certainly it's experienced by a lot of gyms.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. It's massive, and I get to see it firsthand. But you guys, you're not seeing people like I am, and you hit the money on the head straight away with exactly that. So yeah, hopefully today we can try to set you guys in a direction that we do get the best of both worlds. A lot of the data and information that we put in front of people, it's about making the right decisions on the spot, and not just based on emotion as such. So if I throw it out there once again, what percentage of small businesses, just in general, fail in the first 3 years? So we've just basically... Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, my husband just sent me a photo. He's got a big gash out of his head, and my son's just come out and gone, oh my God, that's a big hole in Dad's head.
Holy hell.
Oh, is he okay?
Oh yeah, he's fine. It's
Okay.
definitely not even in like the top 20 of injuries that he's had in the last
Jeez.
He'll just chuck super glue in there and keep going.
What a beast.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So going back towards the question, what percentage of businesses? So when we mentioned that obviously starting out is where it's the most scariest, but even while we're in business, we know that, you know, we've got to tick the right boxes to pay our debts and move forward. Obviously, the first 3 years are the most dangerous. Any guesses on what percentage actually fail in the first 3 years?
I'll say 78 to 85.
% fail?
Yep.
Yep. Anyone else?
I was going to say 60.
60? Yep.
I was going to say about 70%.
Yeah, you guys are pretty well smack bang on it. What is interesting though, so around about 60% of businesses in Australia fail in the first 3 years. What is more interesting is 50% of those are actually still profitable. So if you think about that, you might be a little bit confused, but I talk about cash flow being the biggest killers for businesses. So it's making sure that we've got the right amount of cash there at the right times to do certain stuff. So you might look at your financial statements at the end of the financial year. Most likely you guys have had a look and thought, there's no way I made that much money because this money, where is it? It's not my bank account. And quite often, you know, you don't realize, have I pulled money out for drawings? Have I paid down some debt and so forth? That's all stuff that I guess moves cash around, but it's not actually a tax deduction. So the business can be profitable and we can still go broke because we don't have the money in the right places at the right time. So it's a massive statistic, and it's, you know, where we hone a lot of our advice in is making sure that cash flow is king for businesses. We see it on all levels. So other than that, the biggest things I obviously see is not understanding the true numbers. You guys mentioned this once again. It's people don't understand the retention rates, okay? They don't understand tracking their monthly revenue, where they are at a particular point in time. I'll expand on these a little bit later on. Understanding their running costs. So, you know, what's our electricity doing? Is it on the way up? Obviously, wages, all of these have gone up in the last 5 years, something, you know, chronic. Are we doing things within our business to make sure that we cover that additional, I guess, strain on the business that's only going to continue to grow over time? It's really just understanding those numbers at the right time. Spending money and time just literally on the wrong things. A lot of this is because they don't have the information in front of them to make these decisions. And a lot of people just simply miss the right support team. So it doesn't have to be just people that you employ within the business. It's right through from business coach to accountant to the right suppliers, the right bank manager, and so forth. It's just building that team around. You know, even if I talk about myself, some of those tasks within every day you may be able to do, but it may not be worth you doing it. So I can do my bookkeeping, pay my wages and so forth, but I pay Costco to do that because it's not worth my time. It bogs me down. I'm better off spending the time talking to members and stuff like that. So it's really building the right support team. It's not necessarily saying that you can't do certain tasks within your day. It's actually making sure that we've got the right people there to do it, and you're spending your time on the most valuable things. And it may not even just be in the business. It might be just something that helps you find the work-life balance, spend some more time with family, rather than being bogged down on that sense. So to me, they're the biggest things that I see as the killers and where I see people fail with what I do. Really from here, it's what do we do? What do we do different to most accountants? And I'll talk a little bit about data. And data is easy to get. Data's everywhere. There's a whole lot of data. And as you can see in the circle to the left, there's a hell of a lot of data. On the right, we've also got a lot of insights that we can get from that data. And so it's really bringing those two together. And where we like to play is working on things that obviously contribute to profitability and efficiencies within the business, or even just within your general day and what you do. Okay. So And what I mean by that is getting back work-life balance, getting back some time and stuff like that. So I'll take you through exactly that. In terms of data, could be from anywhere. It could be a gym point of sale, could be, so if you're using fitbox, for instance, grabbing data from that. Your accounting software may be different. So your accounting software like Xero or QuickBooks, there's certain industry benchmarks we can use. 24-hour access systems. So this is more for your Globo gym style setups. When are people coming through the door at particular times? Is there things we can do from an electricity perspective? So to give you an idea, our my setup is all with sensors. So at particular times where we see people coming through after hours, I can actually have the aircon set at certain temperatures. So for instance, if I know that 4 o'clock I've always got someone coming in 4 o'clock in the morning, nice and early, an hour, 5-10 minutes before, I can start having that aircon ramped down rather than having it on for 2 or 3 hours before, cooling the room when no one's coming through. So data from that, social media data, there's financial and non-financial data that I'll talk about as well. So financial data is obviously your revenue, or anything financial that's coming through. Non-financial data could be simply attendance to classes, check-ins and stuff like that. I'll talk to you how important non-financial data is a little bit later on also. Customer surveys are an option. Understanding the health and wellness of members, there's certain stuff there that can be tracked. So data is, as we know, it's everywhere. It's just about how we use that data. In terms of the insights, we can develop, I guess, trend analysis. So what we're looking at there is, let's say, for instance, we're talking about attendance. So we're looking for trends in attendance. So if I'm trying to map my attendance for, say, the current month, number of people coming to classes, it may not be a good indication just looking at the sheer numbers. If I compare it to last year or the previous month, I can start to see some trends. And what we find with attendance is it's a delayed effect for the financial data. So if my attendance is on the way down this month and next month, it may not be until month 3 that I actually financially start to hurt because people are cancelling direct debits and so forth. So there's some graphs and things that I can show you there that we work on to try and how do we turn that around before it actually hurts us financially. KPI tracking, I'll talk about setting some targets and how we track those. The most important thing is making sure we have live data to make the decisions on the run. And then, I can work with people weekly, monthly, or quarterly to have this information in front of them, not just when they want to have a look, but, each week, each month or quarter, they've got a report that has the insights basically displayed for them. Give you an idea, this was some information we took actually from my gym, and what we've done is stripped it out into certain timeframes. So this is not the CrossFit side of things, this is just the gym, but you can definitely do it with a CrossFit box. And so what's interesting is obviously I can see the time slides. So the further to the right is the more average check-ins I've got per month or per year or whatever it's set to. So I can see my 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock type time slots. It's pretty heavy, quiet around the middle of the day, and then bang, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock is where I'm up high again. So getting an indication, I know you've got people walking through the door, you can see that, but it's understanding where the pain points are. So for my gym, I can see that at 5 and 6 o'clock, potentially I could have too many people on average inside the gym, which may, I guess, steer people away if it's too busy. But then on the flip side, what can I do in these times where there's plenty of capacity inside the gym? And I think if you think of it from a CrossFit side of things, are there classes which are really costing me more to run than not? Or what have I got to do to lift those numbers up to make it viable? On the flip side, it might be a case where maybe I don't have enough classes at certain times. So it's interesting information. Once again, it's just certain insights that we can put in front of people. This one here is very interesting. So the owner of the gym that I just bought 2-3 years ago started off in 2013. So if we have a look way back in 2013, you can see the spike. So this is the average check-ins, okay, that are coming through for a particular time frame. So we can all see 2013, we open the doors and we have that honeymoon stage of opening the gym. Keep in mind, the town has always had 2 gyms in place. So it's not like someone new started up, but can we all see the decline from 2013 right through to 2018, all the way through to say November 2018, even though it had its troughs and peaks and so forth throughout, you can see quite an interesting trend of decline there. We actually purchased the gym in November 2018, and it's just unreal to really see it mapped out like this. Gives me a bit of confidence that I guess what we did was worthwhile. 2013, 18, we purchased. We have that little bit of a spike, which is probably bringing some new people along with us actually owning the gym. Then we sort of level out a little bit, only in a short time frame. But this mark here, where I've got new premises and new equipment, is where I really see the spike in attendance, which brings it right up to the top here, which was just before obviously COVID knocked us back down to the ground and spiked back up. So fortunately for us, unlike Scott, we were, I think, 70 days shut down there, and we've been going okay since. We haven't been shut down here in Ingham. But I think it's information, and I'm not sure if any of you guys have looked at this over time with any of you guys that have been running for some time, but the actual previous owner wouldn't have really seen this or understood this over time. He may have seen his financial figures or the top line change in some way, shape or form. But to me, that's pretty cool insight to understanding. And if he was to continue running that gym, you definitely want to see that and understand, what have I got to do to turn that around. Any questions on that graph there? Pretty straightforward. Okay, so.
Sorry, Kenan, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Was there anything specific you did when you guys either bought the gym or when you moved to the new premises and equipment, like specials or anything for new members, that you think would have been major activities tied towards those spikes?
Yeah, so it's an interesting one, because specials and sort of those type of things I would like to mark on this graph as well, and really see if I got certain spikes for that. In specifically speaking, when we moved the premises, we seen that as enough of a thing to get members active. So we didn't run any sales or promotions, apart from just really a lot of social media type stuff, and we might have had an open day on like a Saturday to let people come through and test the gym out for no charge. But for running sales and that, we actually didn't. But what I will touch on is new equipment is massive. So when I do this for other people, even a simple small purchase does get the attendance up. And it could be something so small, like it blows my mind sometimes that it's not something massive inside a gym, just something new people want to try. Which is another reason why I do like the fitbox program, in the sense that if we are doing little updates along the way using our credits, we can try and track and see what type of spike we do have with attendance. People just want to see that you're investing into them. It's not so much the massive $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 spend, but it's just knowing that you're always doing something for them. So this really can give you an indication on that when you map it out like this. All right, so this one here is a little bit hard to see. I won't spend too much time on it, but what I was trying to do with these type of checking this type of data is the date, break it down into the days of the week. So just look at Monday, and if I look at the bottom axis, the bottom line there, I can see Monday is a lot higher above those lines in count compared to Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and so forth. So it's really about knowing, everyone wants to go to the gym on a Monday. That's when they start. And then the decline after that. How do we keep people interested? What have we got to do? But the other thing I got out of this is really seeing the dip towards the end of November and December that happens inside the gym. So once attendance drops, it's likely these people aren't going to renew or they cancel. And it's not until January, February that we've got a chance at getting them again. Because if they start to drop in November, they're pretty well done and dusted by Christmas. So this really gave me an insight into what have I got to do to keep people on as long as possible, understanding some go on holidays and so forth. But I don't, the dip down sort of scares me a little bit there. So it's really understanding what we've got to do there to keep people on board. Once again, if we go back to the circles, as I've showed you, there's a hell of a lot of things that that matter, obviously, within the business. A lot of things we can't control. So once again, what we're trying to do is focus on the things we can control and that actually matter to us. So going on here, developing and setting KPIs, basically what I want you guys to do, and we won't spend too long, but hopefully so far it's got you thinking about things you would want to track within your business. So if I get you guys to just jot down for me the 3 most important things in your business. So give you an example, it may be cash flow, it may be your direct debits, might be the number of members, it might be attendance. Just 3 things that you guys would really want to know at the drop of a hat. Okay, not have to spend 2, 3, 4 hours to go and find out what that is. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes and we will go from there. Just list them down, 1, 2, and 3. You can order them in one being most.
Are we sharing these, Keenan, or just to keep it to ourselves?
Well, if people feel comfortable after, I wouldn't mind sharing a couple if we feel it's fairly general, which I think most will be, because it would be good to hear what you guys really do think is important. And if it's something real specific you don't want to share, that's fine also. So we might actually just ask if anyone's prepared and has got theirs listed, just to give us some examples. You got a couple, Scott?
I do, sure. Not in any particular order. I've always been big on knowing the number of members I have in the facility. I know pretty much to the cent how much each member is worth to me each week.
Yep.
But so it's good to know the number of members. Probably the other 2 that I'm pretty lazy on, because I'm not best when it comes to looking at the numbers, is probably the weekly cash flow. And then what, after everything, if I sat down and worked it all out, after all the expenses, what do I need weekly, all right, which would break down to members, to break even? I think it'd be a nice number to know each week.
Yeah, yep, nice one. Perfect. Anyone else got anything for me?
Yeah, pretty much those ones, definitely numbers. I guess my other big one, my major expense is coaches' wages.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to be spending there.
Yep. That's a massive one. Been working with a few businesses and coaches. Coaches is a hard one because obviously, wages are always going up and it's trying to get the most out of each coach. They don't treat the business like we do. They're good at what they do, but they don't think of it financially in terms of, trying to get members through the door and so forth. So we've looked at a few sort of KPIs for individual coaches. Some like the idea, some hate the idea. So it's just something that we are definitely looking into, but just the cost on a whole is definitely something that weighs business down. And then you pay the wages, you got to pay the tax, and then you got the super that comes on top. So it's never ending. And most people probably feel that you're paying your coaches more than what you actually get from the business, if I'm right in saying that.
Yep.
Nice one. All right. So from there, I want you guys, and I think if we do this right, we can set up a poll. How well do you guys track these most important things within the business? So like Scott mentioned, there's some things that he knows, some things he doesn't. So on a whole, 1 being not satisfied, right through to 5 being very satisfied. How do we feel about knowing, I guess, that we are comfortable, 100% comfortable with these things in tracking them and not having to spend 2-3 hours to find the answer? So I will, if I do this right, I should be able to launch and you guys should be able to get the answer on where you think you sit there. Nice. Told Hannah if it's fives, I'm walking home because I'm not even near a five.
Please don't vote 5, guys. We need them.
All right, so I'll just share those results. And to me, you guys see that? There's no surprise in the answers. Like I said, I'm in the industry and I can't safely tick a 4 and a 5. I know I can do it, but it comes down to the information's there and I do it. I don't do it in a timely fashion. I also pretty well would need someone putting the stuff in front of me consistently and keep me on track. So it's all there. I definitely know it's all there. It's just putting it together. And that's what I'm here to sort of show you guys what's out there and how it can be at your fingertips. From here, basically what I want to do is just touch on a few more things, a lot of writing, a lot of numbers on this, but if I break it down very simple, it's breaking up these important things into segments and being able to see it on a dashboard. Okay, so if we look right up the top, you'll see I've got auto pay revenue up the top there as a segment. And on top of that, I've got things like my total auto pay. So this is basically your direct debits coming through, suspended, declined auto pays, number of suspended, approved auto pays, and so forth. So basically they're all the KPIs that relate to my direct debits. So when I look at the screen, I can simply see, am I on track or not on track for that area? Okay, so I've set targets for the total auto pay revenue and I've set targets for suspended auto pay revenues. Obviously I want to minimize the suspended ones. When it shows red, it's straight out in front of me that I'm not quite hitting those targets and I can have a deep dive. So building, I guess, a dashboard like this for people gives them an insight at any one time as to what are they on track for throughout a month or throughout a quarter, and what are they not on track for. And it's simply just as a snapshot, putting it in front of us and knowing where we've got to dive down into. Towards the right of the circle, not sure if you guys can see my mouse, but I've got profitability. That's my gym membership fees. So membership fees coming through, I've set some targets each month. That's where I can see, okay, I'm not hitting that target. What have I got to do? So overall, we can tailor that to, you guys gave me 3 KPIs, but there's different areas within the business. It's tailoring that dashboard to know what goals am I hitting? What aren't I hitting? From there, we spoke a little bit about profitability. I think Scott mentioned before. This one here I love because it can exactly do that for me into knowing where my break-even point is for a period of time. Break it up into a month, break it up into a quarter, year, so forth. If I look at this snapshot here, I'll break it down quite simply. You'll see that we've got $18,820 is my break-even point. So each month I need $18,820 just to break even. For this period of time, you can see that the client's got $23,634 in revenue, and the total costs ended up around $19,105. Okay, because there's some variable costs there, like supplement purchases and stuff like that. But more importantly, this person can have a look and see that their margin of safety was 4,814 for that period of time. So it's important, 2 things. Obviously, we want to drive the revenue up, but is there something we can do to decrease the break-even points there? And also, like with our type of business, is what type of direct debits do we need to be coming through the door to make sure that every month we're confident just on direct debits, we don't need any walk-ins or anything else, that we're going to well and truly cover our costs with how we operate. So, Scott, is that something that gives you a little bit of an insight and makes sense in terms of what you actually would like to be able to see?
Yeah, that's cool. That's perfect. Just makes it easier. Yeah, whether it's, well, it doesn't have to be weekly, it's probably a bit of a pain in the ass, but something like that monthly, I think would be ideal. We can sit back, and I'm with you. I'd base all mine on direct debits. I like, if I can get some cash up front for, a couple of walk-ins, great. But,
Yep.
if you can leave it out and run off the direct debit total, and, you want to see that margin of safety or that number being in the black every month, then, you're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is telling us live, like when I do, accountants do financial statements, and normally a year, you're a year behind. So this year might have been in the negatives for some time, but you don't actually know until it's too late, I guess. So this is, keeping things live. So nice. That's good feedback. So once again, it's the same question. Where does my cash go? We can see that we're making a profit and so forth, but where is the cash going? This here is really just breaking down where our cash goes. And it's probably not a really good breakdown, but if you see the way we set it up, in the green, you'll see $23,634. That's the revenue and the cash that's actually come through the door for the period of time. What we're looking at in the red is where did that money go? So was it cost of sales, which might be my supplement purchases? Is it expenses within the business? And really it can break that further into paying down. What did it go towards? Paying down debt? Did I take some drawings out of the business and so forth? So it's once again taking a deeper dive into exactly where that cash went. Once again, if we go back to acting on emotion, people look at a bank account, feel good when the money's up, feel bad when the money's down, but that may not be a true indication of how that business is actually operating. So what we aim to do is make sure that people get a full understanding as, okay, yes, the bank account cash is down, but I've just gone and paid off $5,000-$10,000 worth of debt, earlier than expected. I've just pulled some money out because I've wanted to buy a boat or something like that. So it's really just understanding that, yes, the business is still going good, but the bank account may not suggest that, but I've done, other things. You might have invested back into the business with buying some new equipment or expanding. So it's really having a bit further of a breakdown into that with what we show there. I spoke a little bit about trend analysis, and this is really just stripping out absolutely anything in the business and tracking it and mapping it in certain things. So my auto pay revenue, you can set some targets. So the dotted line here is really just setting, I guess, a target. So you can see all the way to January, we wanted to increase it to a set amount and then stay on track for that. The graph then shows how I'm tracking against those targets, okay? You can see August, September, October, that's not quite the trend we want to be on if we're going to get to where we've got to be. So the key is, what have I got to do to turn it around? And it may be just simply promotions. It may be a sale and so forth. But once again, live data, we can make decisions now and not at the end of the year when it's too late. Another interesting thing might be just simply check-ins versus supplement sales. So more people coming through, the more fit aids, the more supplements that they're buying from you. This graph just shows that as my check-ins start to increase from September to October, so did my supplement sales. So when we talk about attendance, it's not just about that retention and having people stay on board. It's what else are they spending within the business. So yeah, really just stripping out anything, just giving you guys a bit of an example. And really where we'll sort of start to finish up is once again, get you guys thinking about your business. So happy for you guys to share, and we won't spend too much time on it. There was a handout inside the portal. Not sure if you guys printed it off, but we can just scratch this down on a piece of paper. And it's more so of, where do you see where the business really is at the moment and where you want the business to be. So I want you to break it down into specifics if possible. Keep it very simple today. So an example could be that you currently, and you don't have to share this obviously, but you might currently be at 25,000 in rev per month on average. You want to get that to 30 or 35. It might be that you're currently at 150 members and you want to get that to 200 members, active members. It could be that you want to improve your work-life balance. Let's sketch on the bottom of the page just quickly and just get you thinking about where you currently are. And at the top of the page, I want you guys to write where you want to get it. So it's stuff that I like to base advice on when I talk to you guys individually. So just starting the process now, get you guys thinking. Is there anyone that wants to share something fairly general? If it's specific to your business, that's fine. Don't have to share. But anyone willing to share where they are and where they'd actually want to go, even just in general?
Yeah, the main one for me, obviously, with COVID sort of hit us pretty hard. Prior to COVID, I broke the 320 membership, weekly members. So we're back down to well, geez, I haven't checked. I'm going to say about 270. So the immediate goal would be to get back over 300 before Christmas. That's
Perfect.
the first one.
Yeah, nice and simple.
Yep.
And you've set a time frame in place, so that's awesome. And no doubt you'll be tracking that throughout. On the right hand side of the page now, get us thinking about what's going to stop us. So if we use Scott's example, what's going to stop you? And there's some things in your control and some things outside, obviously. As I spoke about, COVID's outside, but it's still a restrainer. So think about the things that could stop you. Is it someone setting up next door? Is it cash flow that's going to stop you from buying some new equipment to cater for the new members? It's really endless on what can stop you. Is it staffing problems or not having the right staff or enough staff? Just get you thinking a little bit about what's going to stop that from happening. And then on the flip side, let's talk about drivers. And this is the stuff that's going to help you. Obviously, marketing and promotion could be freeing up your time to work on more important things within the business. Just things that are going to drive you closer to that, being very general. You got some commentary around that, Scott, if we're using yours as an example? Obviously, COVID, I can say, will be hopefully not an issue, but
hopefully not anymore, but we'll see. Yeah, obviously, COVID's still going to sit at the top of everyone's list. Probably the closest thing I know of, and I don't class anyone as competition, but the biggest sort of chain here in the ACT is building a massive, bit like your one-stop shop, which is exactly what I'm looking into at the moment as well. They're not doing the health practitioner stuff, but they're building a big gym plus let's call it Hit Republic, which is like a F45 meets CrossFit type sort of program. So they're building probably about 2Ks up the road, which, for me, I think it's actually only going to make my business even better because, the more people that are looking at them potentially will look down the road as well to see what I offer. So it's good.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. And that's the attitude you're going to have, because there's definitely, and that's the idea of this, is while there's some restrainers there, that's a massive driver for you. Exactly right. So it's just how we think about it and how we sort of plan it out. So exactly that can be a massive driver to getting those members well beyond the 300 mark, especially once that starts. So
are there some other examples of drivers for that sort of goal that you would see commonly? I'm trying to think of some myself.
Is there common drivers that I see?
Yeah, in terms of the clients and the people that you've worked with previously for a goal like a membership number, are there some other driving factors that you could give us as examples?
Look, a lot of people, it's their time within the business. So a lot of the excuses is just, I just don't have the time. And it's like, well, what have we got to do to make that time and put those blocks out of the road from you? So for some people, when you have a bit of a deep dive, they're spending 2 to 3 days just doing paperwork, wages and bookkeeping type stuff that realistically, if they were spending that money on extra PTs, promotions, extra boot camps, or even just saying hello and talking to people that are coming through their door and making, it goes a long way. So a lot of the time, if we can turn those restrainers around, that's where we find is people spending the time in their business that actually make them money. People don't realize how much focus they spend on saving $1 or $2 in an area where they can go and make $5, $10, $15. It's just crazy. So that's where I see the most, the biggest. And when we talk about KPIs and all that, we know it's not rocket science, but just purely having targets there and the information in front of people, they start to make decisions throughout the day that are going to get them exactly to where they need to be from a business perspective, and not just, doing it emotionally to keep our members happy, as we touched on right at the start of this. We want them happy, but, financially we should be rewarded. We've got all the skin in the game. We've borrowed the money. We don't sleep at night because of cash flow and all the rest of it. We do deserve something back from it all. So that's what it's about. Very good. So other than that, just before we finish off, you may see this from time to time, which is really just about Costco's framework. And all I want to touch on is, I guess, what makes us a little bit different to the way we work. I'm very fortunate to be in the organization and be able to run a business. And that's where I think it sets us apart. And the two words there is value and vision. And that's, we've had a bit of a deep dive today. It's understanding exactly what you guys value. And it doesn't have to be just within the business. It could be more family time and so forth, and where your vision really is, and working those two together. So quite often I see accountants and that just work for the best tax strategy to save you, thousands in taxes, which is good. Don't get me wrong. I don't like paying tax, that's for sure. But if we have to pay $1 here and there to get us the things we want to do in life, then sometimes the strategy around that has to change. So when we're talking with people, it's basically building that strategy towards the vision, not just so much towards the fact of let's save some taxes for this person and so forth. So it's really understanding where you guys come from. And within Costco, we've got the business advisory, which is basically what I do in terms of business coaching and so forth. We've got the financial services, which work on tax and financials and all the compliance side of things. And then we've got personal wealth, which is your financial planning. Now, people don't have to see all three, but just knowing that they're there and being aware of, the whole picture for someone is where we don't we're able to operate, not just with that tunnel vision. And yeah, so hopefully today, I guess, has given you guys a bit of a background into what I do, how things are a little bit different. I've got skin in the game. Like I said, I've been through COVID. I'll wear the same things you guys do within the business. And, my jobs, I guess I'm fortunate enough to have access to those dashboards, that information, and really tailor it towards my business and other people that I help. Where you guys are lucky is obviously you get an opportunity within the project to have a bit further deep dive into your individual businesses with myself. So love for you guys to take on the one-on-one consultation where we can just have a similar type discussion, but be real specific to your business, understand the restrainers, work on those drivers, and really what could we do to get you guys to where you want to be. Quite simple. In your portal, you'll see there's a business satisfaction survey. There's a business transition survey. Tick and flick those for me really gives me a good insight as to where you guys are currently at. And then from there on the portal, you guys should be able to book in the one-on-one consult with myself. There's some available times there. On top of that, if those times do not suit you, that is fine too. Flick Hannah an email or flick myself a message and we can work around that quite easily. So other than that, thank you guys. I'm actually definitely excited to take that next step with you guys and work a bit more specific on your business. Hopefully today's given you a good insight into the way we help people like yourself. And I will ask if there's any questions from today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. And like I said, even if, any questions after today, my contact details are there. Otherwise, reach out to Hannah. Happy to take any calls from you guys, have a bit of a further chat on any level. I'm definitely passionate about the industry. I'm also big on exactly what we spoke about at the start of this, and we take the risk and got the debt with the banks and got to pay the rent each month and so forth. So why not make this look at it as a business and make it work for us. So any other questions?
All right, now thanks for your time, mate. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Scott. You enjoy the rest of your day and look forward to opening those doors again.
Can't wait. 2 more days.
Beautiful.
Hey, Keenan, can I ask one on behalf of the group, if that's okay?
Go for it.
In terms of the dashboards and the graphs and things that you're showing us, how is it that these guys, for example, could get access to that? So is that working with Costco yourself?
Yeah, that's right. So within Costco itself, we've got the programs, and It's really, when I spoke about data, there's a bunch of data that comes from a bunch of different places. So every person's different. What we try and do is, how can we grab that data in a timely fashion, throw those dashboards in front of you guys? So in the discussion with you guys, I can talk a bit more specific on, because everyone's got different accounting software. If you've got 24-hour systems, and so forth, the data can come from everywhere. So our goal is to make sure we tailor the dashboard or tailor this information for the individual client. So yeah, there's no, people could be on an Excel sheet and we can still create a dashboard that sits in front of them, measuring the KPIs that they want to measure. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. And just one more from me as well. I think in obviously our role here at Fitbox, we talk to a lot of gym owners, and you kind of touched on it before, in that a lot of people get involved in this industry and in these businesses because they are super passionate about what they do and about helping people. And that profitability isn't necessarily at the top of the agenda for most people. I think breaking even is just a goal in itself for a lot of these businesses that are often run as like a side hustle rather than a full-time endeavor. What's your thoughts on that approach, and maybe why people should consider enhancing the profitability of their business, even if their intentions are those sort of pure values?
Well, I think people don't really realize at the time, but if you're not looking to drive profitability, there's other things in your life that are going to hurt from it. Okay, so if financially we're struggling to pay back house repayments and stuff like that because the business isn't going in the direction we need it to go, then all of a sudden family life, home life, and that can struggle. So I think there's more to the picture as to why we need it to be profitable, and it's definitely possible. It's just focusing in on the right areas. But the biggest thing is exactly, I think there's no reason why our attentions can 100% be towards the members and creating the atmosphere there, because that all goes hand in hand with profitability. There's just some sort of minor tweaks that we need to do along the way to make that work. Yeah, for sure. So that's where I sort of try and, definitely number one, we need to be passionate and all the rest, but it's making it work. The other side, say, just give you guys a bit of background, in Ingham, we are heavy with sugarcane industry. And so we've got a lot of old farmers that own the land, and I'm talking 60, 70, 80-year-olds. And it's exactly that. They're passionate. They love it. They're hardly making money from it, but they just want to hang on to it. And it's kind of like, well, we're finding that this industry can be exactly the same, in that we like what we do. It's like, well, there are ways to really drive those profits. And yeah, that's where we sort of working with people. So, and talk it out.
Never thought we'd be contrasting gyms to sugarcane farming, but here we are.
Did it.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Sweet. All right, team. So you guys know the drill from here. Obviously, we will be completing the module this week through the portal. So webinars, step number 1, you can download a set of these slides if you're interested in grabbing a copy for yourself. But really, most importantly, the activity to tick off for this week will be to book in your one-on-one consult with Keenan. I would suggest it's honestly one of the highest value things you'll get from this whole academy program. So super important to get that locked away. We've got a couple of weeks worth of availability that's listed up there. So jump in, have a look. And again, like you said, if you find a time that isn't suitable, just reach out on the academy email and we'll be able to sort that for you. Great. Thank you so much, Keenan. I hope these guys, again, took a bit from what you've said, but honestly, I think that value in the one-on-ones coming up is super exciting for you guys involved. And I'll be popping this recording up on the portal if you want to review anything that we've covered off today too. So that's it for us today, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.